Well, Sam and Judy have been married for a long time, and one of the things that makes their marriage real strong is that they love each other, but they're independent people, and they do independent things. Well, one day, Sam had to go to Atlanta, which he doesn't have to do very often, but he had to go to Atlanta, and Judy was working at home, and sometimes Judy at home will listen to the radio, and so she heard on the radio that some person was going the wrong way on 285. And so she called Sam, kind of just to alert him, said, let him know. And she goes, Sam, there's somebody on 285 going the wrong way. Be real careful. And Sam goes, sweetheart, it's the weirdest thing. There's hundreds of people going the wrong way. Now that story does not signify anybody in particular, here or anyone you know, so don't be taking this. Let's say our statements of truth together, please.
I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now.
Well, one of the things that we all go through in life is questioning how our life's going and in different phases of our life. And if you remember back, and some of you are too young, since we got everybody in here, too young, and some of you are right at the right age right now. When you're in high school or some other time where you could identify different type of cliques, that get together, different types of groups. Well, you were in one of them, you know that. And so if you stayed in one place all your life, then you're probably in that individual clique most of your life, if not all of your life, during those times. But if you think about it, sometimes when you're in that clique, you think, these people in the clique, we're cool and everything's good. But there's other cliques, and they seem to be different, and it seems like sometimes you look at them and you think, they're having more fun than we are, or than I am in my clique. And so you think, I wonder, did I miss something? Should I have been friends with them? If you're one of the cool kids, then you, believe it or not, were thinking the same thing. If you weren't one of the cool kids, then you might be thinking, maybe I want to be with those cool kids. But either way, you're both thinking the same thing. And I can say that totally with 100% assurance because moving around and as a child, whenever I moved, I was in a different clique. I was one of those kind of odd individuals. I was first of all a jock, but I was also president of the chess club.
Oh.
So that's kind of like button heads. So it was really, really a cool deal to see all different types. And actually with being raised in Unity, it was helpful because, knowing that we were all the same, but looking at it from that viewpoint was different. But sometimes you ask yourself, well, did I miss something along the way? The answer is no, but sometimes we still ask ourselves that in today's life. One of the reasons we ask ourselves that is we think that, my life isn't turning out the way I thought it would, or the way I thought it should. And so we look at it and say, did I miss something or did I do something wrong along the way? The answer is no, but I want to tell you why, and I want to start by telling you how we got to where we are. And it's funny, I've said before that every story that we have in life, there is a story in the Bible. And I know a lot of people got beat up by the Bible, but just forget that right now. But every story that you have in life is in the Bible, believe it or not. And so one of the things that I'm talking about right now is how we get to that idea that we maybe missed something in our life is because of what they call in the original, and you've heard this teaching before, but the fall of man or the fall of mankind. And even though it's taught incorrectly in most churches, I want to teach you the correct way about what Fillmore says about it. Fillmore says that the fall of man is the result that follows man's failure to recognize his divinity. Now that may sound easy, but we forget it a lot of the times, don't we? We look at a mountain and say, that mountain is high. Boy, that's high. Not only can I not move it, but I can't even climb that sucker. That's wrong, folks. That is wrong. We can not only climb it if we train, but we could move it if we train. No matter where we are in life, we could do those things. Believe it or not, moving it would be easier for some of us than climbing it. But either way, we could do it. But the fall of man is forgetting our own divinity. I tell you every time I talk, I tell you that we have to remember who we are and what we are. And that's what he's talking about here, is we forget our own divinity sometimes. And it hurts us. It stops us from achieving whatever we want to achieve in life. Or it stops us, more importantly, really, from receiving our blessings that are due to us. You are a child of God. Your birthright is to receive God's blessings. It's your birthright. Nobody can take it away. Everybody can receive their blessings fully. Somebody else receiving their blessings does not prevent you from receiving yours. Don't forget your divinity. He also says, by his error in forgetting your divinity, he falls into a state of consciousness. We fall into a state of consciousness sometimes where he is bound in limitation and error. Those other cliques have better than I. I must have missed something along the way. It's not true. It's not true. You have all of it within you, and you can accept all of it if you will. He goes on, he says he falls short of his divine possibilities. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, receiving all of your blessing. Are you ready to receive your blessing, really?
Yes.
I mean, we say that, and that's good, we say that, because we have to start there. But we have to believe it. And then we have to believe it and say it however many times we need to know it. That is us. It always was us. I'll tell you, we went to Kansas City not knowing that we were going to bring Aiden back. We brought him back, and we had to give him back. Of course, you fall come very close to somebody when they're with you like that. And I tell you what, even though I'm in a little bit of pain right now, I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I wanted that experience. I love Aiden. I love Grace. And they need to be together. And it's for the best. And even though I'm in a little bit of pain right now, that's my humanity. That really is, to be quite honest, that's me forgetting my divinity.
Yeah.
It really is. But I can accept it. I can accept it and grow from here. I need that to grow. Okay? I don't wish it upon anybody, but I need it to grow. And I'm going to grow from it. And I'm going to see in my mind, beyond anything on outer appearances, that it is perfect and whole. And they are going to be perfect and whole. And I'll tell you what, Aiden, even though he was with us for a little while, he was almost 4 months old when he left. He knows the Christ within himself. He has had the time to learn about the Christ within himself. And at some point in his life, no matter what direction he takes, he's going to feel that. He's going to feel that at the bottom of his soul because it is who he is. And the same with Grace, same with anybody. But this is one of the reasons that we have to, as a group here right now, we have to do what your husband said. Mark, there he is. Mark said, but more importantly on Sunday, not only on Friday, we need to invite people to church. Just invite them. Just say here, in fact, if we had those cards, you can give those cards to anybody. We need to invite them. Not for the church's sake, not for our sake, but just because we want them to know about the Christ within them. We want them to remember the Christ within themselves. That's all. And that's all they need. If we invited everybody to church, or if everybody in the world, not necessarily church, but if everybody in the world knew about the Christ within them, I guarantee you there'd be no reason for prisons. I guarantee you that.
Amen.
There'd be no killings, because we can't look at someone else and say, the Christ within you, I hate the Christ within you. You just can't do it, because it's a falsehood. We have to help others, and that's what's talking about in the Bible too, of not necessarily proselytizing, but that's what it's talking about. Just invite them. Go out and invite people that you know. Just invite them. I know it's kind of, down here in the South, it's a little bit different. We're not trying to convert anybody. We just want you to know about the truth, whether they stay here or not. We just want you to know about the truth within yourself. Okay, so we had the fall. So we had the fall. We may still be in the fall a little bit or a lot of it. I don't know. Each individual case is different. But so what do we do to get out of it? Well, it's easy, folks, and it may be oversimplified, but it is easy. Prayer and meditation. Because that is where we go back to knowing who and what we are. And we have to take that time. You know, it's amazing to me that without exception, every time, you know, metaphysics, in the early part of metaphysics, people used to call people like me, and really instead of ministers, we were called metaphysicians. And then what that meant is we would prescribe things for people who would come to us to help them out with their spirituality. In doing so, would help them out in all of their life. And so prescriptions back then would always include prayer and meditation, always, without doubt. Without any exception would include prayer and meditation. Why? Because that is where you're going back to headquarters, like Fillmore would say, which means God, which means the source. That's where we do that. So we have to take time to do that. Now, people, every time I've done that and someone has followed that prescription, then they have, without a doubt, because they go into thinking, well, this is going to take me some time. I don't have time in the day to stop and pray and meditate. But without exception, they all of a sudden seem to have time. And all of their stuff gets done in the day. And it's just the weirdest thing. Faith and prayer and meditation are something that you really can't explain to other people as well as you can experience it yourself and know it works. So prayer and meditation is how we get out of, did I miss something? Meditation, I'm going to tell you what Fillmore says about meditation, and I'm not going to go into prayer and meditation, the differences between the two, because you really don't even need to know. When somebody asks you what's the difference between prayer and meditation, say my life is a prayer, or I meditate all the time. Don't worry about the differences. It really is, you know, just semantics anyway. Don't worry about it. Prayer and meditation. So I'm going to tell you what meditation is, though, because Fillmore gives a little bit more, a longer definition of it. It says, continuous and contemplative thought. Now, what do you think we're thinking about, though? It's not thinking about, oh, did I miss something? Oh, those guys had it better than I did. It's not thinking like that. It's not thinking like that at all. Since we're in that oneness, since we're trying to go back to source, meditation is continuous and contemplative thought of what? Of God, or of who we are originally and who we are now. You still are that person. You still are made in the image and likeness of God. You are. To dwell mentally on anything. So it's our choice. This is where free will comes into it. What we choose in our human brain to meditate on or to concentrate on is our choice. But what we do choose to meditate on and concentrate on manifests in our life. You know, I don't think that on this deal with Aiden, you know, it's really, I've never heard of it before, and France and I were foster parents for I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. I've never heard of them giving so much services to Grace and Brandon and Aiden. And it's wonderful. That's what we wanted. It is wonderful. What we think about, what we concentrate on, what we pray for, what we meditate on manifests. It comes to life in the reality out here. Realizing the reality of the absolute, and that's what he's saying right there. The absolute is what most people refer to as heaven. Even though we can have heaven here on earth, it's what most people refer to as heaven as being perfect. That's the absolute. It's being all-knowing. It's the omnis, omni-cubed, all-knowing, all-powerful, all... thank you, what? Present, thank you. Omni-cubed. Not square, cubed. Thank you, Dr. Anna. Realizing the reality of the absolute. So what is that saying? Really, if you look at that part of the sentence, it's kind of that doesn't make sense, Warren. The reality of the absolute. The reality, what we're in right now, of the absolute, which most people think is heaven. But it's not something that contradicts each other, because the absolute, when we are concentrated on it, and we know it is us, it is our reality. No matter what appearances on the outer seem to be, it is our reality. I know that's hard to grasp sometimes, but it is the truth. The reason I want people to come to this church, this particular church, not only, I mean, I want them to come to a Unity church, but not only that, because there's a lot of different flavors on Unity churches, but I want them coming to this church. Because I can guarantee you what you're going to hear today and from the lessons at this church is going to be the truth. And if you hear something from a church or from a minister that isn't something that is telling you how to benefit you, then you're not hearing the truth. You're hearing something else. If I'm telling you that you're going to hell because I say so, call me a liar, because I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. That's not the truth. Okay. He goes on and says, a steady effort of the mind to know God. This is still meditation. To know God. We already know God in our essence, that we are part of God. So we already know this, but it is bringing it to our forefront. Meditation is bringing it to our forefront so we can live it and have it manifest fully in our life. And that's going to take some doing sometimes. Sometimes that takes us getting rid of some stuff in our subconsciousness that we have thought to be true that isn't true. You're going to hell. You've got to get rid of that. Unless you want to go. It's your choice. Knowing God. Man's spiritual approach to God. And this is another thing. This is on the church you choose to go to. The churches that are what they're saying to you. What is your spiritual approach to God? Is God up here and I'm down here? Or is God in here with me at all times? Huge difference. He goes on with this. The purpose of meditation is to expand the consciousness Christward. So where is the Christ? In you. So it's not God please, although all of us, beseeching prayers, listen, if that's where you're at, you know that's where you're at. And that's okay. But beseeching prayers are just exactly what they are. Please God help me. When God, you know what God's going to say to you? Help, exactly. Help yourself. I don't know who said it, but good job. Help yourself. I will give you all the tools you need. I will make the path easy as I can for you. But help yourself. Make the first step. Do what you need to do to make what you want to make in life. It is your choice. To bring the realization, to bring into realization divine truth, which is bringing heaven on earth. Which is bringing heaven in your life. And see, heaven on earth, sometimes we think, well, you know, Reverend Warren says that heaven's right here and right now. Well, I look on the news and that isn't true. Well, who's a part of the news? All of us are. As long as we are holding out on that, heaven being here on earth, heaven will not be here on earth for us. As an individual, as far as me being an individual holding out that there's not heaven on earth, heaven won't be on earth for me. But when I release that thought, remember subconsciousness, when I release that thought and say heaven is here on earth for me and available for everyone, then there it is. From now on, I'm going to accept my good. You know, I see Maria, and I'm sorry, Maria, last week I pointed out somebody too. But I just look at people when I'm talking to you, and I see Maria, and she just came back from a wonderful trip she had again. And I love what she's doing since she's retired from teaching. She's enjoying the heck out of life, aren't you? And you deserve it. You're accepting your good, which is wonderful. We all should accept our good. More on meditation. To be transformed in spirit, soul, and body by the renewing of your mind. Obviously, that's a quote from the Bible. But from the renewing of your mind. So like I said earlier, where it starts is what we are thinking. And what we are thinking makes us act. Or not. And when we do that, when we think the right thought, when we act on the right thought, then the right outcome will produce itself. So how do I do this? I want to share with you some things that I do this with. Because I think this is one of the prayers that we don't teach enough. We used to teach it a lot in Unity, and we don't teach enough anymore because it's a little bit longer. You know the prayer of protection that we say after every service. I'll say that together. Let me get a drink while we're doing that. The light of God surrounds me. Together, the love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me.
The presence of God watches over me.
Wherever I am, God is. And I usually stop there, and you can say "and all is well" too, because "and all is well" was added later. It was added probably in the 70s, early 70s. But Anyway, there's another prayer called the Prayer of Faith by Hannah Claudia. I don't know how to say her last name. Hannah Kohas. It's not that bad. Hannah Moore Kohas. And this is a little bit longer prayer, but it is a prayer, if you memorize it and you go back to it, it kind of answers a lot of things for you. And I know that y'all have heard this before. And Reba, if you can hear me, there are Prayer of Faith cards out there. I think they're $1 each. If you want to buy one, go ahead and do so after service. Wonderful prayer to have. But it starts by, God is my help in every need. And that statement, I'm going to go by every sentence. Because, you know, it's kind of like the first basic unity principle to me. God is my help in every need. I'm not alone. I don't have to face things alone when I realize that I'm honestly not alone. It's kind of like the joke I was saying about Sam and Judy. And, you know, loving each other and being with each other because you love each other, but having individual understandings of where you are is an honest relationship. But when you love each other because you are reliant on each other, it's not the best type of relationship you can have, because you haven't come back to God is my help in every need. When we understand that, we are not reliant on another human being. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that I am great and you are not. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that God is my help in every need. And when I understand that, everything can come to me because I am living in heaven. And I am going to express it everywhere I go and in everything I do. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. You know, this prayer has a little bit of old biblical ideas in it too, but they're good. I'm not going to worry about where I'm fed next. Not physically, not mentally, not spiritually. Because I know that God gives me everything I need. Everything I need. There's nothing I want. God walks beside me, guides my way. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I said, you know, when you realize that the Christ within you, and you want to live that way, then God is going to make my path easy because my thoughts are in the right frame of mind. You know, righteousness is something that is talked about a lot in other churches. And if they understood what we were talking about when we talk about righteousness, then it would be really cool. Because righteousness in unity thinking is right thinking. It isn't, I'm better because I'm doing this the right way. It's right thinking. So let me go on. Through every moment of this day. There's not a moment in time where I'm alone unless I choose, my thoughts allow myself to be alone. And then I'm not alone. It's like the footprints in the sand, that picture. You remember that picture where there's two footprints and then there's one footprint, or one pair of footprints, and I can't remember what the saying goes underneath it. But it's a wonderful saying. It's about, it's saying that, God, what's that?
Those were the days I carried you.
Yes, those were the days I carried you. Yeah. And God was, oh yeah, it's something like, yeah, but it's something like, God, you left me, or something. The human guy is saying that. And then God responds by saying, no, those are the days I carried you. Thank you for helping me. I now am wise. This is kind of a different second stanza of it. I now am wise. I now am true. Okay? This is again thought. Right. Patient, kind, and loving too. But this is the thoughts again. I now am wise. I now am true. Okay, listen. If you say you are true, then your thoughts better be true. I mean, let's not disguise something that's not true as truth, because that's where we get in a lot of trouble. We put that in our subconsciousness as you know what, I'm only making $25 an hour, and that's not enough to live on. When we say, or we could say, which is not the truth, or we could say, thank you, God, I'm making $25 an hour. I look forward to making more soon. You have to be grateful. Patient, kind, and loving too. I just said that, and that's what I was explaining. All things I am can do and be. through Christ the truth that lives in me. So that is the second stanza. So just think about it. All things I am right now, all things I can be, or can do and be, comes through the Christ in me. So the third stanza is, uh-oh. Did I go too fast?
There's a third stanza.
Yeah, there is.
It's my.
God is my health. I can't be sick. I'll just say it. Sorry, it's not up there. God is my health. I can't be sick. Why is that the third stanza, you think? I mean, think about it. If we can go through these and get them, we're getting a lot closer. But you know, here we're really good about healing in this congregation. But a lot of people, that's, you know, hey, when we get to I can see all that for other people. But when we get to my personal life and I need healing or something, come on now. God is my health. I can't be sick. Then it goes on to say, God is my strength, unfailing, quick. Strength. That comes right behind the health because it's the strength that you need sometimes to come through you to heal any type of seeming illness or sickness. That brings you up. God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength. I'm feeling quick. God is my all. I know no fear. Since God and love and truth are here. Think of the three words that this author chose to put on that last line. Since God and love and truth are here. I mean, it's kind of like the understanding that we have, a growth pattern with those three words. Since God, we can all accept that God is here, whether we accept Him fully in our life, or whether we accept God, the Spirit God, fully in our life, man and woman. Then it goes to love. What's the greatest of all that Jesus said? Love. Yes, God is love. And when we understand that, what are we living in? You're living in truth. If you don't have this prayer, I want you to buy a card. If you can't afford the 25 cents, I'll buy it for you. Tell Reba to put it on my tab. I'll pay her in a minute. You see why I think the prayer of faith is so important? I think in some of these things, I decided a few weeks back, you know, I'm going to go back to the things I know are rock solid. And that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to make it in a new language so we can, you know, we don't go back, because sometimes, you know, like Fillmore books, some people don't like to read Fillmore books because they're 1800-ish verbiage. But that's what we need to go back to, in my opinion. And think of this, though. It's not a step back. Truth is never a step back. Truth is always a step up. And all we're doing is saying, you know, here I am, God. I accept the truth of me. Can we say that together? Here I am, God. I accept the truth of me. God is blessing you right now. Amen.